Hi Tina, it's Fancy and I'm looking at your design, and you're using a triad, cyan, magenta, and yellow. One thing that you need to do that was suggested in the handout and in class, that when you're working with more than one hue, you need to pick a hue that's dominant, and you need to make the other hues subordinate. So pick a hue that you feel you want to have more present in the work, and two of these need to be accents. Now, another thing you need to work on is your gradations. And right now, for example, if we look at the yellow gradations, it tends to break up here. There's not a smooth gradation, for example. Or if we look over here, it's not very smooth. Here, there's a transition between these shades and the tints that is not very smooth. So you can see that all along here. In here, your gradation feels a little bit like overallness because you have high value contrast. So within your visual pathway, you want to have the smooth gradation, smooth transitions between steps. And you can also see that in, not as much, but maybe here in your magenta. Here, not a very smooth transition. And in your cyan, not a very smooth transition. Look at the high value contrast here and here. And also, within your gradations, you're keeping your pathways separate. We spent a lot of time on vanishing boundaries and how to transition from one hue to the other, but you're keeping them all separated in their individual paths. So I would try to change it up a little bit, have one color transition to another color within the same pathway. Another thing is you're just gradating. So if you change up the color a little bit, so again, if you don't keep them separated in their own pathways, but try to integrate different hues within the same pathway, that'll provide more visual interest. Right now you're just gradating, and we want to move past just gradating within our final project. So you're up for more of a challenge than just gradation. As far as the unity and balance of the piece, so it looks like on the left and right panels you're working with single visual pathways for the most part. This is a little bit unclear what's going on here. Then they turn to double visual pathways here, or they look like the pathways have changed their characteristic. They're definitely wider here than they are here or here. So these are all very wide kind of pathways. In here, double visual pathways become, maybe here's a double visual pathway, but then it becomes maybe a triple visual pathway. So that's not unifying. Here, kind of the same kind of thing. It looks like maybe you kind of flip-flop the design. So here is from bottom, is the bottom. It's reading from this bottom to the top, and here it looks like you turned it 180. So it looks like an inverse of that design. Where they meet in the middle, so this one simply kind of comes back. These look like these figures on a ground. They look like single visual pathways on a ground. And that's where kind of perhaps integrating more color within the same pathway will help you to eliminate that. Down here you have this area here, which you don't see anywhere else. So I'm not sure what that is. It looks like maybe your tints are kind of extending out of this baseline, but you don't have the same for the shades. So that's not unifying as well. So again, try to use vanishing boundaries to integrate more colors within the same pathway. Try to be more consistent about the layout. Try to integrate, again, more color within the same pathway. And also try to decide which one to use as an accent color. So there will be two accent colors in one primary or dominant color. So think dominant, subordinate. I look forward to your next iteration.